Hello and welcome to the WOOLapyk podcast. My name is Ida and this is a podcast about knitting and also a little bit of hand dyeing yarn. Basically, mostly knitting. So I am doing the introduction now because I think this is going to be the first segment that I'm going to put into the podcast. Because I've decided to do what I did last time, which is just record segments of the podcast at various days. It just works better for me, at least for now. And you seem like you liked it, or maybe you didn't dislike it or anything like that. And I'm saying this only having gotten the feedback from people on Patreon because I still haven't been uploaded the last podcast on YouTube. I thought it was time to show you a bit of progress on one thing that I've been working on, which is actually the only thing. Today is March 9th or 9th, yeah. And I've only been working on this for the last 9 days, or since I recorded actually last time, so that's 9 days ago. But I've been working on it and it's just not flying off the needle, but it's going quite fast for me at least. So I am working on the Fiberfolk shawl, and this is version number 2. As you know, I ended up ripping back the original version number 2 because I knitted with the wrong needle size, so the gauge was too tight. So I ripped it back and started over, and I'm so much more happier with this result. So as you can see, I am all done with knitting the first color, which is the Superwash Merino Nylon, my own yarn, in Yours Truly. The colorway is Yours Truly. Oh, I'm stuck here with the needles. It is narrower than the original Fiberfolk shawl, but otherwise it's gonna be more or less the same with an asymmetrical triangle shape, and it has these eyelet rows on the one color. It's not going to have any on this color, which is Olive Hue, and this is a 100% non-superwash merino, which is also my yarn. So this is just going to be plain stockinette stitch, no, plain garter stitch, and as you can see, I just started doing the decreases here, right here. Yeah, I don't know, I felt like it's just going quite well on this, and I think maybe I'm gonna be able to have this ready for Fiberfolk in, I don't know, is that 10 days, 9 days? I hope so. That would be amazing. I think I am going to add a border to this shawl. The original pattern does not have a border, which is fine. I've done like a slip stitch edging here, and I did that on the other one too, and it's fine. It's not perfect, but it's okay. I think this colorway, or this yarn in particular, it looks a little sloppy, and I think part of that is because I knit this yarn and ripped it back and reknit it without doing any blocking or anything to the yarn. So I knit basically with yarn that looked like this, and I think doing some washing and blocking could solve that problem. If I look at this yarn, it's a lot more even, and as you can see, it's also new yarn. I haven't knitted with that before, so it could even out. But as I was knitting with this, I kept thinking about what I could do about that edging or that border, and I'm kind of gotten a little bit obsessed with the thought of knitting an I-cord border on there. I think that would be really nice, and it would finish off the shawl in a really neat way. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna do that, and then add pom-poms to either end, or maybe just to this one end. I don't know, I'll figure that out. I also think that would be a good way to use the rest of this yarn. So I want the border to be in this yarn, and since the pattern is asymmetrical, I will have leftovers of this yarn. So that would be a way to use that up. Excuse me. I also knitted a Versus Unite by Stephen West, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago, something like that. And that's also a shawl, and it has a I-cord border. And I just remember knitting the shawl, being done with it except for the I-cord, and not being that impressed with the way it looked. And then I added that I-cord etching all the way around the shawl, and it just did, like, it just raised it to another level. That's how I felt about it, and I just really, really loved it. And I used that a ton until I lost it somewhere. So I think that would be nice to do that on this one as well. It does require a little bit more knitting, but it's not like the biggest shawl in the world. So even if I had to do that, and everything should be ready for Fiberfolk, I hope it's gonna be. So this is basically it's the only thing I have to show you for now. But like I said, it's March 9th today. So hopefully I'll finish this off and I will get going on some other projects. For now, this is just what I am going to focus on. Just checking that there's no one here. I'm in the car. And I'm on my way to meet a friend to do a bit of knitting, actually, so that's wonderful. But I'm early, and I thought I just would take those extra 10 minutes and talk to you about one of the projects that I'm working on. So I just pulled off on this nature area where there's a parking spot, parking right here, so I can talk to you. It's been so great today, and I've been wanting to talk all day, but it's just been so gray inside. But now I am, oh, actually I can do this, see? I am in the car, and there's plenty of light here. We have this big front window. So, yeah, let me show you. We are just past Fiberfolk. It is March 21st today. Fiberfolk was on March 18th. And we had a lovely day. It was just a magical, magical day. I honestly feel like it was magical. We didn't really know what to expect. Actually, I was quite worried. I'm telling Jakob all the time, I don't think there's gonna be not anybody, that's wrong. I was nervous that there were gonna be less people showing up than last year, both because of the war in Ukraine, and everything is just more expensive, and has been for a year now. But also because there's just popping yarn festivals up left and right here in Denmark, and has been since COVID. And obviously they are all welcome, all the yarn festivals, and nothing against that, but they are also competitors to the visitors, obviously. So I was worried that we didn't know how that was going to affect the number of visitors coming to Fiberfolk. But we had almost 40% more visitors coming this time. It was insane. It was just lovely, and the line just kept going and going and going, and people were so happy, and just it was just a lovely atmosphere. And the place in Vejle is it's an old, I'm gonna put in the name, I don't even know what that's called, but the venue was just perfect. Everything just was wonderful, maybe except the line at the cafe, but that's kind of out of our hands. We are not allowed to do a cafe, so they have a cafe there, and they sort of doing their own thing there. Yeah, we just had a wonderful day. It was just, yeah, I had a moment there, just walking through all the people, thinking that is just, like, we did this. Jakob and I did this, and of course we did not do it alone. We know that. We do it with the visitors, and we do it with the vendors, and people are so good at supporting and tagging us and talking about it on Instagram. And often that's something that we are very aware of, and I think probably more aware of that and very grateful for that. But I think sometimes we forget to give ourselves credit. And I had a moment there just walking through and just basically giving myself credit for doing this, or doing Fiberfolk, and that was wonderful. So that was a lovely day, and that wasn't even what I was going to talk about, but I was going to talk about the Olympia top. It's called Olympia, but it is the top by Streckrek. Her name is Reggie. I actually don't know her last name. The pattern is the newest released collection from Filcolana, and that's a free collection, so you can go in there. They also have, oh my god, I just lost a stitch marker. They also have I'm using these as stitch markers, and I just pulled one out, so I'm gonna add that in there again while I talk. They also have the patterns available in English, I think also German, and maybe some other languages as well. And obviously they're all knit in their yarn, but I am using my own yarn. And you may remember how I have started on this top. This is the third version, or the third time that I started on it, and this time I'm happy to say that it's all working out. So okay, I think it's there. So this is as much as I have knit so far. This is here's the front, I think. A knit with 2 strands of a merino nylon yarn. The pattern uses Aveta, but I am using my own hand-dyed in the Art Nouveau colorway. I am not alternating skeins. As you can see, I'm just holding 2 strands together, but and you can tell here it does have a little bit of striping. Not too much, not enough that I'm really bothered by it. Oh my god, there is like a neighbor sitting right next to me. I didn't know they had like these dark windows, so he must be thinking I'm insane. I don't know. Just gonna continue talking. Hopefully they think I'm just talking to somebody on the phone. So yeah, so this is it. So you cast on with a tubular, and look how I'm so proud of this tubular cast on. I think I'm gonna keep showing you this over and over because it's just so pretty. It's definitely the nicest one I've ever done. And then you knit bottom up, and I'm doing some increases here, as you can see. Or maybe you can't see, but I am. And I'm gonna keep working, I think, until I don't know if I have to separate for front and back, or if it's just, I think you probably cast off for the back and then you work from the, like, a little bit more for the front, most likely. Yeah, and like I said, I am not alternating skeins. I should be doing that if I did not want to have these little stripes, but I don't know, it's pretty even and I honestly don't mind. I have done, which I do sometimes when I'm not alternating skeins, but when I can see that it is just striping a little bit more than I want to. So you can see here there was like the stripe that continued up through the fabric, and then as I reached the point here, I just took a strand of the yarn, added a bit of a knot, just knotted it together like this. So yeah, to sort of leave out a bit of that lighter color, to just sort of, I guess, shift the yarn a bit so that it moved, and that helped with that striping. It disappeared. It also helps with the increases. I do increases every so often, so it doesn't so the fabric changes because there are going to be more stitches on the needle. Yeah, so this is what I'm working on so far. I really enjoy it. I don't really mind knitting 1x1 rip. It's slower than stockinette stitch, but I get the same sort of relaxed feeling knitting ribbing as I do when I knit stockinette stitch. It's slower, but other than that, I enjoy it. Yeah, I should have brought the Fiberfolk shawl, like the second edition, because it is finished. But I guess I didn't, so I'm gonna show you that later on. Yeah, so that is the Fiberfolk shawl. No, that's not the Fiberfolk shawl. This is the Olympia by Reggie Slightly. And I'm gonna drive to meet my friend now. I was looking at through my project bags, as you do every so often, and I found a almost finished object that I have not touched since probably early autumn, and that is the camisole number 5 by My Favorite Things They Wear. It's right here, and I only need to finish the armhole section, or the arm section, and it's done in double knitting, which I have never done before, so I'm a little kind of excited to try that out. I knit the neckband differently than the pattern, because the pattern wants you to do like a ribbing like I've done, and then you do an tubular bind off, and I have been heavily not against it, because I have always thought it was a pretty cast on and cast off. I just did not like it when I did it. I just, for some reason, didn't really, I must have done something wrong. But now that I've figured out how to do it the correct way, I'm so into it. And so I think when I did this neckband, I basically just knit double the length of what the pattern suggested, and then folded it down and stitched it down, so it's like a folded over neckband. And it's okay, but I think it will be better if I do it the correct way. So I am really considering to pick up and then redo it, so I get a little more of a neat finish to it. And then yeah, just do the armholes and be done with it. I can't remember if the cast on was supposed to be a tubular cast on. I'm pretty sure it was. I didn't do that, and now I really am a bit annoyed by it, but it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. But so that is definitely something that I am going to work on when I am done with my Olympia top by Slickrick. This was from My Favorite Things They Wear, and the yarn is an undyed bamboo linen blend, as far as I remember. I thought I was gonna sneeze. No sneezing. So I am a little under the weather, which you can probably hear by my voice. So I have 2 pins on here. This is the Fiberfolk pin, and this is a pin that I made and designed for the WOOLapyk Advent 2022. And I'm mostly happy with it. I'm a little annoyed because right here at the top, where it actually says WOOLapyk 2022, and you just cannot see that at all. So that annoys me a little bit. But I only have that one left, so yeah. But it was fun to do. So anyway, I have 3 more things to show you. No, 2 more things, because I have already showed you my Olympia top. I have my now finished Fiberfolk shawl number 2, or the second version. It is done. I had it done for Fiberfolk. In the last podcast I did talk about doing, or maybe if I should do an I-cord edging. I decided not to do that. I think it's fine without it. The blocking really helped with the stitches here. Also, I ran out of yarn. I thought I had so much left of this. I did not. I actually ended up doing a more rapid decrease, as you can see here. You can probably tell here around here it's just getting
and a little bit more rapid with the decreasing because I was running out of yarn. So I need to figure that out before I write the pattern, I think. But yeah, it's here. It's okay. I'm not... It's like it's a shawl. It's a scarf slash shawl. It works for what I want it to, and it's fine. It's gonna be perfect for spring. I think I like the colors better in the skein than I do knit up. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I feel like these colors aren't really my colors. Because I do think they're pretty together, just maybe not on me so much as I thought. This is Olive You on my non-superwash merino, and this is Yours Truly on my superwash merino nylon. Yeah, but it's fine. I know I'm gonna wear this a ton regardless of colors and everything. I think my vision it looked better in my head than it does in real life. Not that I think it's ugly, it's just not what I imagined in my head, basically. But it's nice and long, and it does the job for what I wanted it to, so that's good. I also was thinking about adding a pom-pom on either end here. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Maybe it's gonna be a little bit too circusy for me. I don't know. I don't really know why I've changed my mind, because I really liked the idea before the scarf was finished, but I don't really think it needs it. It's okay, just quite simple as it is. Yeah, done with that. I think you're probably getting pretty sick of this scarf. So we're done now. I'm not going to talk about it in the next podcast, I promise, because it's finished. So if I talk about it, it's just because I am writing the pattern or something like that. Writing the pattern. I already have written the original pattern, so there's just going to be a few changes with this one, so it should be doable. But knowing me, it could take months before it's ready. I have also worked a bit on my Wednesday sweater by Petite Knit, which is actually a lie because I have not been working on it. I sent it off to my mom as on a knitting holiday and asked if she wouldn't mind knitting a bit on it, and she was happy to do so. Or maybe, I don't know if she was happy to do so. She did it for me. So she's knit, I think, this part here. Then she ran out of yarn, which really sucks. So the yarn is a yarn that I bought at Edinburgh Yarn Festival 3-4 years ago. It's from Adelanish, and it's a 100% wool. I have a lovely friend who went there with me, and she bought the same yarn. It's from a cone. So she left a comment on my I did an Instagram post, I think, where I mentioned that I may run out of yarn, and she was like, I have a tiny bit left. So I got this from her. I also have 2 little swatches. This is the color swatches that I did before casting on. It's not going to be enough. So my mom found this yarn that she thought could maybe work. I have enough of the silk mohair, so that's good. There is a slight difference, but they're pretty similar. This is just a little more shiny and softer as well. It's not quite as rustic as this, but this will soften up quite a lot with blocking. So this is definitely more soft than this is, and this hasn't been blocked. So I think what I'm going to do is just begin striping in. So doing 1 round of this, 1 round of this, and then hope I have enough of this to last for the rest of the sweater. I think that's better than just knitting most of this and then do a bit of striping and then knitting the rest in this one. I think for the whole like overall look and the drape of the sweater, it's better to continue with this for as long as I can, because this just seems, it just has more structure to it than this. I don't know if there's alpaca in this one actually. It just has that bit more of drape, kind of like alpaca does. Yeah. Oh, I haven't even seen, she actually has this, I guess this is the yarn. It's called English wool. So I guess it's a 100% wool. It doesn't say what type of yarn or breed it is. Yeah. So that's the plan with this one. I knew casting this on that there might most likely would not be enough yarn, or that I was definitely playing yarn chicken, but I was hoping that that would be enough and that it would be like the perfect amount so I would not have anything left over. I really do not like having scraps left, or like leftover yarn when I'm done with like a bigger project. For some reason it stresses me out that I have this whatever 30 gram left of something that I've knitted and I don't know what to do with. So I think that was why I was willing to just try it out and see if I had enough. No. Luckily, I have enough of the silk mohair, and I think that's gonna be important in terms of the overall sort of uniform look of the sweater. I hope it's gonna just hide the fact that the yarn is changing a bit. I'm going to finish off. My kids are yelling. For me, it's dinner time. I knew I was taking a chance. They've been okay, but have been down a couple of times, so now they are done waiting for me, I think. So thank you for watching, and if you're on Patreon, thank you so much for supporting me again and again and again. If you're not on Patreon, don't feel any pressure to be or to do so. You can also just support by giving this video a like or subscribe or leaving a comment. That's also very helpful for me, and it's also just nice for me to see that you like the video. So yeah, I hope you will have a lovely start to April, and I will talk to you next month. Bye.